Worried about your drinking? Reserve your place on today's free Quit Drinking webinar and get a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a gift just for turning up. www.stopdrinkingexpert.com. Hey, how you doing? This is Craig back very early in the morning, 6 a.m., and jumping in with another episode of the Happy Sober podcast on probably the most discussed topic. This is the one area of sobriety, of quitting drinking, that I get asked about the most because it is the utopia for most problem drinkers. It is the dream, the promised land where most problem drinkers want to get to. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist, but doesn't matter. Still, problem drinkers dream of one day arriving up in this magical land of milk and honey that they call moderation, drinking in moderation. And no matter how many times I make a video about it, no matter how many times I talk about it, people still want to believe that this promised land exists. And they keep throwing scenarios at me and saying, yes, but what about in this situation? Maybe it exists. And again, I'll repeat, it doesn't. But we can talk about it a bit more because I know a lot of people need information on this. They need me to talk about it more because they can't quite believe that Santa Claus isn't real. So the reason I'm talking about it today is because I got an email from Philip, which I'll show you in a minute. Just a reminder that if you are worried about your drinking, alcohol is like quicksand. You want to struggle and get out on your own. I understand that. But what happens in quicksand when you struggle? You go deeper. This is what causes the downward spiral. Get some help. Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com. Loads of free advice there, and also a free quit drinking webinar where you will get a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a free gift just for turning up. So let's take a look at this email from Philip. Hello, dear Craig. You helped me first moderate and then stop drinking. I watched your every video and read your book. I was not a heavy drinker. One bottle of wine was a stop button for me. But after 2 years of your wisdom, everything you say in your videos is totally true. And slowly I experience it all. Like moderating, it was really hard to manage that. And I relapsed, telling myself it's a part of life. And I love that euphoric feeling, that cheat from bad mood to good mood. During relapse, I started to have really strong depressions. I was thinking I'd have to go to a therapist, but then I stopped and the depressions are gone. Now I'm back sober 20 days, but my vacation is coming. I'm scared of it because I've always drunk on vacations, like a few beers a day, half a bottle of wine at night. And yes, there's always been that little whisper in my head, what are you doing? You are drinking poison. Why are you doing it? I have a friend who almost died from alcohol, and he established to only drink on vacations. He really can do it. And I'm quite curious and jealous of this. He really can have 2 to 3 glasses of wine and leave it months like that. I know 100% alcohol is poison. I really hate it, but there is still that one piece of the puzzle missing in my head. I think it means so not considering to drink on vacations because that evil clown is whispering in my ear that I could have a few beers on vacation. Please, Craig, can you make a video about this email, about the topic, to beat the devil clown in your head during vacation, or feedback on my case? I know you've made a few videos about this, but as you can see, it's not enough for me. Thank you so much. Kind regards, Philip. Right. Interesting points here. Look, huge alarm bell ringing for me in this message, Philip. And anytime you are comparing your drinking to that of someone else, you are in dangerous territory because you are not seeing the truth. You are seeing your confirmation bias, and you can't do anything about that. You cannot see the situation objectively when you are longing and yearning for something like moderation. And look, I don't know your friend. And I'm not here to slander him or her or anything like that. What I do know is human behavior. And what I do know is alcohol. And if someone came up to me and said, I've got this moderation thing licked, I genuinely only drink on vacations, my first thought would be, you're a liar. I don't believe you. Because nobody who's lost control of alcohol can just suddenly get it back. I've talked about this many times before. It's passing the event horizon. It's a valve point in your life. Once you go through the valve, there is no way back. So let's be an optimist here. Let's say your friend is telling the truth and he can genuinely have 2 or 3 drinks and then leave it. Let's work out how that could happen, because we know that you only get one choice, really. With all the best intentions in the world, you may say to yourself, I'm only going to have one drink. It doesn't matter what you say. You can say anything you want, because after the first drink, you concede control to the evil clown. The first thing alcohol does is interfere with that part of your brain responsible for making logical, sound decisions. So even if you start out the evening with the plan to have 2 drinks, doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. There's no way your friend has managed to control that. So there is something else at play here. And let me proffer a possibility. Sometimes when people get very ill from their alcohol use, they do permanent damage. And that can be in the form of damage to their stomach lining. They can, have ulcers and hiatus hernias develop and things like that, things that become irreparable. And what they discover is that their body can no longer tolerate alcohol because it flares up all their symptoms. And so the addict part of them wants to drink and it struggles to drink. So they do try and have a couple of drinks, but the more they drink, the more their symptoms rise and the more the pain rises, and they just can't do it. So some people have done so much damage to their body that despite how much they really, 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 really want to drink the poison, it just hurts too much. So there's nothing impressive about what they're doing. If anything, they're just demonstrating stupidity, because they've done so much damage now that even the slightest bit of alcohol causes a huge flare up in pain and symptoms and discomfort. But yet they still, despite that, choose to drink a small amount of poison. So, Philip, it's dangerous to assume that your friend has got an angle on this and got a control of this without something external changing. All right? Now, the reason I don't believe people who say, I only have a drink at Christmas or I only have a drink on vacation is because you can't prove it. How do you know? And as Dr. House said, everybody lies. Everybody lies, especially drinkers. I'm sorry to say this to you, but problem drinkers are compulsive liars. We all are. It is a part of the condition. And we lie so much that we don't even see it as lying anymore. When the doctor asks you how much you drink, you don't tell the truth. And the doctors know this. This is this strange dance that we have. The doctors always double what you say. When someone who's worried about your drinking says, when did you last drink? You don't tell the truth. You don't say, I had one an hour ago. You say, oh, yesterday. You always make a slight tweak to it to make it sound slightly better. It's just the nature of the beast. And so when someone says to me, I only drink on vacation, I think, bullshit. Bullshit. You may not drink publicly anymore. Nobody might see you drinking. But I don't believe you've stopped, because it doesn't work like that. It would be lovely if it did, but it doesn't. And so, excuse me being a skeptic, but Philip, your story about your friend who's miraculously managed to return to moderation after nearly killing himself with alcohol is not what it appears. And you are wasting your time and effort craving what this guy claims to have, because there is something going on under the surface that you're not aware of. I guarantee it. And that is either he has medically harmed himself in a severe way that now prevents him drinking to the level that he used to do. And that is a very common situation, by the way. Or he's not being honest with you. But the one thing I know isn't true is that he has genuinely managed to only drink on vacations and 2 or 3 drinks. Absolute zero chance of that being the case. So look, we're back to the start here about this, this is what problem drinkers want, this utopia of drinking in moderation. And I know there are books on how to cut back and how to, think less about alcohol. But at the end of the day, it's that point has passed for you. If you're at the point where you are readily accepting that you are out of control with alcohol, you are a problem drinker, you've gone past that point. You're just wasting your time. You might as well read a book on how to be 20 again. It's not, yes, it would be lovely to be 20 again, but it's just not an option. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you can have peace. And it's okay for that to be the case. You know what? It's okay to get to a point in your life where alcohol's no longer a part of it anymore. You've left many things behind in the past that you absolutely loved when you were a kid. You probably loved going to McDonald's, going to the soft play area and bouncing around in the ball pit, jumping around and screaming and shouting. You probably loved it. It was probably the best thing in your year when you went to do that. But at some point in your life, you said, yeah, that's not appropriate anymore. Now, you don't torture yourself every day because you can't go and play in the soft play with the kids. You just look back and you go, yeah, that was good fun. I enjoyed that. That was a good part of my life. You don't think it must be here now because it was there then. You let it go with your blessing. You say, yeah, that was fun, but it's in the past. I enjoyed that. It's gone now. Great. And there is going to be a point in your life, and I suspect you're at it, Philip, where you say, I had lots of fun with alcohol. I drank on vacations and we had great times. Oh, yeah, we had many great stories to tell. That was good, but it's gone. I'm fine with it. Off it goes with my blessing, and that's fine. It's just a part of growing up and maturing. There is a point where you have to stop playing Russian roulette every day because, you've got away with it so far. But there's got to be a point where you mature enough to think, this is stupid. I've got to stop playing Russian roulette. I got away with it. Let's just leave it in the past. Let's not do that anymore. And that's where I suggest you are right now. It's just, the longer you torment yourself with this, trip to Narnia that you want to go on, because your friend says he's been to Narnia, the longer you torment yourself with this, the more you're going to be not at peace. When you finally accept, I'm letting it go with my blessing. Alcohol, you can go now. That's the point where you stop stressing about this, where you stop panicking about going on vacation, where you stop worrying. You stop feeling envious. You stop feeling jealous. All this negative stuff that's dragging you back. So, Philip, I hope that helps. Make the decision and give it permission to leave with your blessing. Thanks so much for watching. If you have a question about sobriety, rehab, alcohol, anything like that, email me, craig@craigbeck.com. I will make you a video or an episode of the Happy Sober podcast, and I'll do it as soon as possible for you as well. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Worried about your drinking? Reserve your place on today's free Quit Drinking webinar and get a copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a gift just for turning up. www.stopdrinkingexpert.com